Hey, it's maximum exposure. Hope you're having a good day, because these dudes sure ain't. What do you do when you wreck your truck?
I dropped the recorder.
Complain to your old lady.
You dropped it?
This woman's life is a day at the beach, and that, like, totally sucks. The best-looking man in Romania becomes the best-looking hood ornament in Romania. And a store clerk tells a robber, you ain't going nowhere, dude.
You're on your way to jail.
Hate them Renaissance fair guys? It's payback time. Next stop, Bunny Slope. Come on, get a little closer, closer. Whoops! Wild animals are really, really stupid. Good thing they're good eating. And an escape artist who just ain't very good at escaping on this day. Oh yeah, we got big gobs of pain and suffering. Yeah, we're gonna show you some really, really bad days.
Reel in! I got it!
1 hunt trip in the mountains of eastern Washington State turns into a really bad day. Because this truck is stuck. George Fahrenkopf's driving. His girlfriend Andrea's shooting.
Let's see how happy you are about that. You're pretty happy about that.
We don't know yet.
The truck teeters on the edge of a 300-foot cliff.
That sure is a long ways down.
There ain't no room for error. George does some ascertaining and determinating. He's a guy, so he decides to gun it. Oh, that don't work.
Oh my God! Oh my God! All I remember was complete fear. That's all, because that is a very steep ridge or hill, and it's well treed, but it's very steep, and it's like at least 300 feet down. How far did he go down? I couldn't tell. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Let's see what George does wrong. He tries to swing the front end out over the edge and pull the truck back with his rear wheel. But the weight of the front end pulls the truck down.
Oh my God!
Like many hunters, George ain't exactly a physics expert. But he is okay.
Okay.
The tree stopped his fall.
We're back and George is okay. George, wave. And the truck is pretty up, but George is okay. And he's getting out of the truck now.
George takes in the situation.
We were supposed to be recording.
Hun, as soon as you went over, I dropped the recorder.
You dropped it?
Well, I set it down.
That there's an excellent guy response. He wrecks a $20,000 truck, then gets on his girlfriend for dropping the camera.
You dropped it?
Yeah, good distraction, dude.
My options were hiking quite a few miles in order to get help, or take a 50-50 chance.
50-50? He ain't exactly an expert at odds making. They bring in a tow truck.
The truck itself, when we got it home, started it up. It smoked a lot, but it started up. And that's like Old Faithful, that truck, because it was always a good truck, and that's why we still got it.
Now, George may not be the brightest light on the front porch of life, but at least he uses his truck. Not like them fancy city folk.
What?
You're hanging out on a beautiful beach. How could you possibly have a bad day? Well, if you're a parasailer who can't get down, you can. Lake Okanagan in British Columbia. This woman's 150 feet off the ground. The wind kicks up and they can't get her down.
They couldn't bring her in. There was no slack on the line at all. It was very, very tight.
They tie her rope to a floating dock. A dude climbs the rope to try to bring her down. Well, that doesn't work. And the wind's so strong it starts pulling the dock towards the shore. She starts heading towards some high-voltage power lines. Suddenly, everybody on the beach realizes the danger she's in, and they band together. Folks grab onto the rope to give it some weight.
altogether, about 150, 200 people had started heading towards this floating dock and forming a daisy chain type thing, grabbing onto the line. And as one person would grab it, the next person behind them would slowly lower into the water a bit so that you've got enough people and enough weight on the line to bring this person down.
And she really, really, really wants to get down. At least this bad day didn't turn out to be her last day. Romania ain't got cable TV, so this is what Romanians do for fun. They go to a stuntman show. You got guys falling from way up high, cars swerving and crashing, guys jumping through flaming hoops. And we're not sure what this is supposed to be. Them Romanians are having a blast. Except for this dude. He's a reporter. You can tell by his microphone. But he don't know he's about to have a really bad day. The TV dude is down. Hey, let's see that in slow-mo. He's busy speaking in his guttural, incomprehensible language, wearing his cheap suit and secure in the knowledge that he's the best-dressed man in Romania. But hey, he's a Romanian news dude. He's used to bad days. Oh yeah, Florida, where some people have bad days all the time. A gas station. An old dude hangs out behind the bulletproof glass. A bad guy strolls in and has a look-see. A customer comes in. Bad guy's polite and acts like, "You go ahead, I'm just robbing the place." After a while, another customer shows up. The clerk turns around, and that's when the robber goes for the cigs. The old dude thinks quick. He locks the front door with a button from his boot. Yo, dude, no shirt, no service. Check it out, this guy's locked in too. Now, the robber tries to get out any way he can. Meanwhile, the clerk calls the cops.
He's trying to break the window open now.
Bad dude figures she can attract more flies with honey.
You're on your way to jail. No.
So it's back to beating on the door.
You're making it worse for yourself. The cops are on their way.
While the old dude chats on the phone.
Yeah. The guy just spoke to me. One lawyer come behind me. Once you get in, they turned around and started talking to me.
He finally breaks the glass and splits. Now the other customer can buy his stuff. Somebody outside sees the whole thing and holds the robber till the cops show up. You know, life's like that sometimes. You go into a store for a quick robbery, and you come up against a nasty clerk dude. Go figure. Hey, sit up straight if you can. You're watching Max X. Coming up, man crawls through blizzard as children laugh at his pain. The Max X way to make golf unboring. This may seem like a tragedy, but heck, we never eat the head anyway. Like a true nature's child, he was born to be wild. Maybe not. Who knew this little car had so much trunk space? We're thinking she does. It's sink or swim. Ah, screw it, let's just sink. And the days get really, really bad on our Max X list. Maximum exposure. Hey, ladies, we like to drink tea and talk about our relationships. Max X, we got us some really bad days. Scott Reeve lost a football bet to Mark and Brian of LA's KLOS radio. Time to pay off the debt. He's letting himself get hit by golf balls. That's why he's putting on 100 pounds of armor. They tee him up. Or, oh, direct hit. Check out the dent that little ball made. Oh, he's taking a beating. Scott thinks he's safe because of the armor, but he ain't got no protection here. Wouldn't you just know it? Nice aim, dude. Ow! Hey, come on, no fair. Whoa, hey, all right already. Whoa! As bad days go, it's a semi-really bad day. Even animals have really bad days. In Shreveport, Louisiana, Richard White hears something up a tree.
There was just a strange rustling and gurgling, growling kind of noise up in the tree. I guess it was loud enough that it caught my attention.
It's a raccoon with its head caught in the tree. Richard's wife, Rhonda, calls for help.
I was wondering if y'all could help y'all help raccoons?
Do we help raccoons?
Yeah, there's a raccoon.
The dude on the helpline ain't sure about sending help.
Well, they might bite a fireman, and the fireman might have to take him.
I really felt sorry for him. He was struggling. I mean, he was struggling and whining around. Being a claustrophobic myself, I really sympathized with him. Yeah, that just looked terrible to me.
Finally, the fire department shows up. They hack off the limb and bring it down to the ground. A couple of whacks with a hatchet and the coon's free.
All right, go what?
And what's the first thing the raccoon does? Climb up another tree. That there's a Max X feel-good story. Everybody say it together. Aww. This here's Ken Luke. He's the principal of East Elementary School in Tooele, Utah.
Starting in the crawl.
Ken made a near-fatal deal with his students. If they read 150,000 pages, he'd crawl to school. The kids did it, so now he's crawling. But he didn't figure on a blizzard.
You can barely see him crawling.
The kids finished, but there's a foot of snow on the ground. Ken has to crawl 1.5 miles. It's slow going.
Here we are at a resting point.
People wish him luck.
Thanks.
A radio station calls him on his cell phone.
7:40 in the morning at Kissa 97, 31 degrees, and on the cell phone with us from his hands and knees on the streets of Tooele this morning on his way into work, it's Principal Ken Luke at East Elementary School. How are you doing there, Ken?
It's really slow.
People are tracking him.
We have one of our listeners who has spotted the principal in his progress. Hi, who's this?
This is Curtis Orton.
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Where is he?
He just crawled past my driveway.
Can you open the door and give him a, hey, Ken, way to go kind of thing?
Sure. Hang on.
All right.
Way to go, Ken! Good luck!
Two hours and 45 minutes after Ken set out, he gets to school.
Where are you now?
I'm right on the school grounds. All the kids around me. I'll hold it up and let you hear them. Just a second.
How far from the door are you?
30 yards.
He makes it. And that's what we call a self-inflicted bad day. Max X, where bad days are good days. Next, fire in the hole! Oh, there ain't a hole. Yeah, but there is a fire. A skier's racing neck and neck and almost loses his head. The skipper and Gilligan take one last cruise. We're thinking that in a high-speed motorcycle race, steering's kind of important. And maybe this guy's thinking, hey, I can see my house from here. And if you don't think those days just suck, check out the really bad days on our Max X list. Max X. Hey, ladies, We like to sleep like spoons. Max-Ax. We're back. Electricity. You want to avoid it, especially in a show called Really Bad Days. A transformer's on fire. A power company dude's on the scene to put it out. He hits it with a chemical spray, but he's just a little too far away. So he moves his cherry picker closer. He gives it another shot and... the transformer shorts out. One more time in slow-mo. When he sprays the fire, the flames spray back. He's barely able to duck out of the way. He moves his basket to a safer distance. Smart. And the flames burn out. Yeah, that high voltage is some kind of nasty. But our boy's okay. It's the World Pro Skiing Championships in Keystone, Colorado. Hans Stantiner is locked in a tight race. Hans knows he's losing. He's got to do something to make up time. He tries to shave off a few milliseconds by... he hits the gate, and he's down. Let's see that again in slow-mo. Here's his big mistake. Hans actually tries to ski through the gate. His skis keep going, but his head makes an unscheduled stop. Hans catches his head on the gate. His race is over. For taking that chance, Hans gets a bloody nose. Hans' post-wipeout interview.
One thing with these double panels, you can't ski through the gates, and that's what I tried. So it was a good lesson.
It is a good lesson. And just so you never forget it, here's what Hans learned. Off the coast of Australia, a single-hulled sailboat race.
Oh, they almost capsized it.
It's fast and dangerous. We're following the Amy team. Maybe they ain't so good. The skipper, David Witt, is wearing a helmet cam. But he probably don't want people to see this.
Let it go now.
His really bad day up close.
Now Amy's in trouble. They don't have right away. Oh, this is going to be close. Oh, and a bad tack. Terrible. Oh, that's going to stop Prudential.
That's some bad driving.
Struggling to get into the mark.
The mark being the pontoon.
They're going to hit the mark. Amy is going to hit the mark. Will I know they're going to get around it? No, they've hit it. Oh, dear. What rotten luck. Terrible. And they're jammed on it. David Witt off on the dock.
Debuting. Oh,
is the skiff going to capsize?
Get out.
They're hung up on the pontoon.
Parking. While the rest of the race goes on.
We're on the lines of this bloody...
They're caught in the ankle line, I think.
And they were so well placed.
Yes.
They can't detach their bow. Then it gets worse.
Hang on, David Witt is jammed between the mark. He's in the tide. The skiff actually wedged him against the dock. The skiff's gone. David Witt is in a lot of trouble. They're trying to get him out of the water. Now this guy's tough. He plays first grade rugby. He is in a lot of trouble. His back's the problem.
Goodness me.
Oh, that's awful.
Let's see it again. David's in the water trying to free his skiff. It crushes him against the dock.
David Witt is jammed between the marks.
That's it for David in sailing. His back is so messed up he has to retire. Bad, bad day. We got some serious drag racing in Noble, Oklahoma. It's the Soul Brother Nationals. Mike Bowers is going going for the national championship against this 300-pound dude. The race starts. The big guy veers into Mike's lane. Oh, that's bad. We got to see that again in slow-mo. As soon as they start, the big guy immediately loses control. And for Mike, there ain't nowhere to go but up. Then down. Mike slams into the ground.
The way I hit him is pretty much what saved him. If this man wasn't a 300-pound man, he'd probably been dead. If you can imagine getting nailed in the back with a front tire of a drag bike at just under 100 miles an hour, you would say, this man's not going to live.
Let's take a closer look.
At those speeds, you're committed, let's put it that way. You don't have an option, well, I'll drive around this guy or something. You're talking from the time that the light snapped green from the time that I actually hit him was between 3 and 4 seconds. That gives you an idea of how quick stuff comes up.
A rescue team tends to Mike. Both his legs are broken.
I remember my tire hitting his wheelie bars. I remember my front tire rolling over his helmet. I remember seeing the sky. The next thing that I remembered was the ambulance crew standing over the top of me, trying to talk to me.
Mike heals up. He still wants to race for the national championship. The 300-pound dude, nothing but a few bruises. He eventually quits riding the drag bike circuit. Yeah, big dude, good thinking. MaxX. Pain is a state of mind. Coming up, hey, look at me, I'm the Gumby Man. Sir, may I have your license and registration, please? Let's see, on this show, there's a bunch of dudes in a zip line. We're thinking something bad's gonna happen. And a straitjacket, a burning rope, and an unlucky magician. A recipe for disaster. And the days don't get no easier on our MaxX list. MaxX, the show that will live in infamy. You're having a good day with maximum exposure. But someone here ain't. LA cops respond to a call about strange noises coming from this car's trunk. He wants to get inside and pop the trunk. But damn, what's that window made of? Maybe something like, bulletproof? Yeah, but the little window ain't. They get into the car and open the trunk. There's a woman stuffed inside. As she tries to get out, the cops grill her. She tells him she was having a really bad date. She was with a guy who wanted to go to a local sex club. Local sex club in L.A.? Where? Hey, we're not curious. No, not at all. Not one bit. Anyway, she didn't want to go to the sex club like a normal woman. So he pushed her into the trunk and went off to the club himself. Well, the cops take her to the sex club where she IDs the jerk. The cops arrest him for unlawful detention. And now he's having a really bad day. What do good old boys like to do when there ain't no women around? The next best thing. Dirt biking. These three guys are camping out at El Mirage Dry Lake in California. After the typical male bombing, they go bombing in their dirt bikes. It's all good dirt fun. Mike Cherry zooms by at 60 miles an hour. And of course, he wipes out. Mike, tell us what happened.
I hit the mound. Next thing I knew, I was sailing through the air, and I knew I was going to go over the handlebars. And then there was sort of a blackout.
You don't need a doctor to tell you that you ain't supposed to have a joint there.
Looks like it's broke right above the knee. Does it hurt?
Yeah, it hurts us when our leg looks like this.
I was in shock. I got over to Mike, and his leg looked like a Z. It was bent in several spots.
I just remembered thinking to myself that I was going to be okay.
Mike's delusional. Now he's thinking, hey, do these jeans make my leg look broke? Your other buddy, Tom, goes to get help. Takes a half an hour for the paramedics to show up. They try to move him. Ouch! Sure ain't going by car. They have to get a chopper to airlift him. Mike gets better. Well, mostly. He's the one with the limp.
You realize how important it is to be able to go drive a car, to walk, to run. I appreciate just the fact that I'm alive.
That's what we at MaxX always say. Nothing like a serious bone fracture to give you some perspective. We got us some hippie types frolicking in the woods. Auger Falls in upstate New York. They decide to have a little crazy fun. They run a zip line over the falls. He takes a hold of a pulley and zips from one side to the other. This dude's next.
I'll see you later. Take off, man.
From their POV, it looks like a lot of fun. Next up, this blonde. Her name's Kaya Johnson. She takes off and comes to a dead stop. Her hair's caught in the pulley. Ow! Kaya's in a bad place right now.
You know, I thought about, what if I hit the ledge? What if I can't make it up to the other side? What if the rope breaks? But I never stopped to think, what if my hair gets caught?
Her friend Jim shimmies down to help her out.
I was trying to figure out what he was doing, just saying, cut my hair. I was yelling at him to cut and not mess around with the pulley. I was convinced that one way or the other, I was going to have a reverse mohawk when this whole ordeal was over. When he undid the pulley, I thought, my job's over. I'm going to let him take over. And so in the video, you can see me, my head just kind of flops back in relief, and I let him pull me in.
Okay, we're going to say it. Kaya had a really, really bad hair day. You're breaking it down with MaxX. Coming up, a painter says, hey, hanging by a skinny rope ain't my job description. Okay, all you gotta do is take a right turn at the buoy, and I'll meet you at the judge's boat. Fire, very, very good. Escape artist, very, very bad. If you think those are bad days, you should see what's ahead on our MaxX list. MaxX. We were just helping that cow over the fence. Honest. Hey, it's MaxX. Water tower. Busted scaffolding. Dude. Walter Cody was painting the tower when his scaffolding collapsed. His safety line saved him. It won't hold too much longer. He's been hanging 125 feet off the ground for an hour. The rope's cutting into his chest, and he's having trouble breathing.
The man fell from the water tower and is suspended from a rope. They are unable to get to him.
Firefighters and paramedics try to figure out what to do.
They're going to tie you off onto their ropes and bring you down with them. They're not going to use your rope.
Walter's too high to use a ladder, so the rescue dudes have to rappel down the side of the water tower. Who's having the really bad day? Walter or the rescuers? The first guy gets to Walter and ties something around him so he can breathe better. He holds Walter with his legs to secure him. A second rescue guy comes down. He ties onto the other guys and cuts the painter's safety line. Now they can be lowered to the ground. Walter's a little banged up and bruised, but he's okay. And the firemen feel good knowing they saved a dude's life. We got a Max X career tip for you. Stay away from Magic.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, Jason Magic.
Especially dudes named Magic, like this guy. He calls himself Jason Magic. He's never done this trick in front of a crowd before, but that don't stop him. He gets into a straitjacket. He's suspended upside down from a rope, 7 stories above a river in Mount Clemens, Michigan. And the platform above his feet is set on fire. Back in the day, Houdini did this. Jason? Nuh-uh. He's got 3 minutes to undo the straitjacket, free himself from the rope, and grab a safety line. The wind and the rain are making it hard for him.
Oh, God be with you, Jason. Oh, my God.
The voice you hear is his sister, who's taping the whole thing. 36 seconds in, he's got big problems. He can't get out of the straitjacket. At a minute 42, he gets one arm loose, but he's way behind schedule. And the wind is fanning the flames.
Go, Jason! My God, go!
He's coming up on 3 minutes. He's out of the jacket.
All right, now Jason Magic has one job left to do. He's not done yet. He's gotten out of the rope, but now he needs to make his way to the safety rope in time before the rope burns.
The flames are burning through the platform. Jason signals that he's in trouble. They lower him into the river. They put him out just in time.
When I look now at the videotape, the first thought in my mind is like, wow. When I went to undo that harness, it was wet, it was all, tied up. It looked like it was tangled. I mean, I just couldn't slide it out like it did in practice. I just look back at it now and I think, man, what a nut. You can't do this again.
Yeah, dude. We knew Houdini, sir, and you ain't no Houdini. It's a boat race off the coast of Uruguay. This one's cruising along at high speed. The driver's supposed to go around a judge's boat, but there's a mechanical problem. He can't make the turn. So what was a really, really nice day is starting to be a really, really bad day. Oh, not a good way to get the judges on your side. We gotta see that again. He keeps going straight. And right into the judge's boat. The co-pilot's so busy pitching a fit, he don't bother to help the sinking judges. Another crew comes along and tosses him life vests. We don't speak of this crazy foreign language, but we think he's saying this.
Podía producir una explosión generalizada, ¿no? Y la muerte instantánea, porque son carreras de, o sea, las lanchas que...
The rescue crew works fast to save the drowning men. One man is scared. He needs a hug. This here turns out to be a bad day for everyone. Maximum Exposure's motto: if life gives you lemons, make a tape and turn it into a TV show. You're gonna see more of what we're talking about on our Max X list. Now, the thing you've all been waiting for. The Max X list of really bad days. Coming in at number 3, a beach in Peru. Some dude parked his new Jeep a little too close to the water. But hey, he just wanted to impress his friends. One problem. The tide has taken his Jeep out to the ocean. And there ain't nothing anybody can do about it.
It's very difficult a car go on the sand, right? Only 4-track car can get it. And I think this guy wants to show his car to everybody was there, no?
MaxX translation? Dude, you're screwed. He just can't leave. Looks like the captain wants to go down with his Jeep. Now he's kicking himself for not springing for the special undercoating and flotation option. In case you ever thought Jeeps made good boogie boards, the answer is N-O-E, no. Finally, his beach homies drag him out of the surf. He's hoping his insurance covers this. In the end, he does impress his friends with how friggin' stupid he is. It's the MaxX list. Really bad day, number 2. Fishing. It's you, a couple other dudes, some cameras, a rod, a reel, and a super powerful boat. Versus a fish. It's guy heaven. Stuart Campbell holds 10 world fishing records. He's trying to reel in a 900-pound marlin. That's like trying to yank a horse out of the ocean. Stuart's strapped into a harness which is attached to the fishing rod. Uh-oh, Stuart's line's tangled. Bad day coming. Man overboard! Hey, cool, we always wanted to say that. Stuart could get chopped up by the propellers, or the fish could pull him down. There he is. The crew pulls on his rod, bringing him to safety. Let's see that again. Here, Stuart thinks he's catching the fish, but at this point, the fish is catching Stuart.
Just before I was pulled in, I realized that something bad was going to happen when I couldn't get the wire untwisted around the rock. I actually made a mistake when I looked over to the side to see the fish instead of watching my rod tip, so it was my fault that all this happened. The thought that I had as I actually went into the water was that, okay, the boat didn't hit me.
Because the boat's backing up as they try to take the big fish.
But the fish was large enough to where he actually pulled me out of the path of the boat to the side. Then I realized the fish was not pulling me down. He was pulling me up as he rolled up to do this jump.
They get Stuart back on board. His rod and reel are okay, but his line is broken. The marlin is history. Stuart gets cut by the reel. He needs stitches to fix his face. It's a really bad day for Stuart. But hey, look at the bright side. It's a really good day for the fish. And the number 1 really bad day belongs to White Lightning. He's 2,000 pounds of angry cow. And he's running loose in Salinas, California. He busted out of a rodeo where they pay a lot of money for his kind of meanness. Like 10 grand. That's some prime beef. White Lightning's got no respect for tender young crops or humans. A dude tries to lasso him, but it don't work. They try to cut him off with their pickups. A farm worker gets a big dose of White Lightning. The dude gets bowled over by the bull. At first, the guy don't feel too bad. Then he realizes he's in a lot of pain and has to go to the hospital. The bull takes off towards the highway.
Gonna go to 101.
A bullet heist? We're thinking that's a bad thing. A cop car stands between the bull and the highway. But the cop backs out. You'd think a car could take a bull, but whatever. White Lightning bolts across the highway. Cops stop traffic, and no one gets hurt. They lasso him and bring out the heavy artillery. A shotgun and a cigarette. Meanwhile, he takes down another cowboy.
How close did he get to you?
Well, he wiped his nose on my...
Yeah, and he shoved a horn in your butt. They get White Lightning roped. This mild-mannered news guy thinks it's okay to do his report now.
Mike dropped, Mikey busted. No, don't move. You have the keys ready? Because if he starts hitting, you back out. Don't break this shit.
Finally, it looks like the cops use some techniques on the bull to subdue him. But he's still bucking. They get him into the trailer. Maybe they told him there was a lady bull in there.
Luckily, nobody got hurt in the bull.
You were saying?
I was saying, hopefully we got the bull secured now. No.
And he's ready to go back to the rodeo.
Still riding tomorrow? Well, somebody probably in the planning.
That's the end of a very good day for White Lightning. And a really, really bad day for this guy. This guy, this guy, and this guy. And that's the end of Maximum Exposure. Have a really, really nice day.
Six contestants battle each other, the clock, and new host George Gray in a contest to see who is the strongest link. Catch the all-new Weakest Link, weekdays at 5 and 5:30, starting Monday on UPN 11, Seattle's ones to watch. Now, stay tuned for Stargate SG-1, coming up next.